if that movie was just that montage, it'd still be a great movie. So what facial change, like in terms of you could never imagine yourself growing facial hair or getting like an ear piercing, dyeing your hair? Like what kind of change to your physical appearance could you never imagine doing?
Probably getting Botox or something or filler, something put into my body that's not supposed to be there to make me look younger or cure wrinkles or something. I don't think I will ever entertain that.
I don't think I could ever get any kind of piercing. Like I could never imagine myself with like pierced ears or a nose ring. I could never see myself doing that.
I mean, I've been in the chair for piercings and tattoos and have backed out every time. So I think I could for sure get piercings without a doubt.
You've backed out twice though?
Yeah, the piercing was over a girl, or with a girl rather. And at the last second, I was like, "Do I really want my ear pierced?" And I know that they can close up over time, but in the moment, you're like, "Man, is she going to be around in a year? I'm going to have this hole in my ear. Like, what am I going to do?"
Oh, were you just going to do one ear or are you going to do both?
I was just going to do one ear at the time. Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that for a girl. I don't think I could get a piercing for a girl. I don't think that I would do anything for anybody else in that regard. Like, get this tattoo for me. Nope.
So how would you feel? So the wife and I are watching this show on Netflix right now called Sprints, and it's about obviously sprinters, Olympic sprinters, and the 2020 Olympic champion in the 100-meter dash. His wife has their kids' names tattooed on her body, but she has their son's name across her neck. Like, is that a little weird, or is that just me?
I thought that was his name. I've seen this and I wasn't sure. But then what about the other children? That's what I don't understand. If you're going to get one kid's name tattooed across your neck, which is highly visible, then where do you get the other kids? Like, oh, sorry, Tim, but you're down like on the lower calf. Like you're saying which kid is your favorite essentially by where you get them tattooed on your body.
Well, I think she has like the son's name on her forearm or something. I don't know, but it's just, or the daughter's name on her forearm. I just don't know why you have like one on your neck and the other one's like on a forearm. I don't get it.
I guess for me personally, I don't need that much of a reminder that I have children. Like, oh no, I remember that I have a kid. I don't need to like, oh yeah,
Ugh.
Tim, I got it. Right, okay, that's his name. Like, I don't need that much of a reminder. Whatever people want to do, man. It's your body. Do what you want with it.
That is one thing I don't think I'll ever do is tattoo someone's name on my body.
No, I don't even think that you could pay me enough money. I mean, if we're talking like $1 billion, like, yeah, I'm going to do that. Would you? Okay, how much money would it cost for you to tattoo another man's name on your forehead?
Like, just a random name? Do they just have meaning? Is it just a random
It's
name?
their
Of a
name.
man's?
Their name, and it has to say property of. How much would you? How much money would it take for you to get property of another man's name on your forehead?
Oof. I mean, I'm probably not going to work ever again if that
No.
happens. Oh, I mean, it would have to be at a starting point of like 20 million.
You would. It'd have to be enough money that you would never work again for your life, and that anyone who knew you would immediately understand that, like, I got paid this much money, that's why I did this. It'd have to be like 50 million, which is probably 20 million in cash. I would do that for.
Though I will tell you that if I was going to get any man's name tattooed, your name would be up there. So
could you imagine having property of Nick right on your...
No, I couldn't, actually.
I don't think I could ever. Yeah, it would have to be a lot. You might have to be 100 million plus.
Yeah,
because
no,
nobody
I don't
would.
think I could.
And I think that somebody would kind of raise a question if you were in the double-digit millions, but if you were in triple-digit millions, I don't think anybody's asking you a question. Like, why do you have that tattoo? Got paid 100 million for it. Oh, okay.
I know, right? Like, yeah, why do you get that? I don't know. I got paid like 400 million for it, so suck it.
Yep. Agreed. All right.
Well, let's give some shout outs to names that we're not going to tattoo on our foreheads, but still deserve recognition. So let's see. We'll start with Jackson Bailey, Skip McFriendly. Don't get a lot of skips anymore. Hudson Turner, Evan Wiley, Sydney Fisher, Nicole Anderson, Aurora Chernoff. I like a good Aurora. Like I feel like that's
a good name.
Very popular name nowadays.
Yeah, there's not a lot of them.
Santiago Casillo. And let's see. We'll end here on Brenna Zanny. Appreciate all of you this week.
Okay. I don't think that Skip is a lot. Like, I don't think that you would ever name your child Skip as a first name. That has to be like a nickname-ish kind of thing.
Yeah, I Skip has to be definitely a nickname. It cannot be your first name. Actually, how many like famous Skips? I don't even think I know a Skip other than a baseball player.
Skip to my Lou. He was like a street ball player back in the day. Can you see that I took my son to karate camp today, and that when he got back, I asked him like what he learned, and he kicked me right in the face. Can you see the mark that he left right in my face from getting kicked in the face by my son after karate camp?
Oh, is that the mark right there? On your forehead there?
Right in the middle of the forehead. Right in the middle of the forehead. It was a good kick. I'll give him that.
I figured we'd try something a little different now that we're doing, live shows.
Oh, okay.
Maybe we would just talk about current events. I don't know.
We'll see what happens.
So I picked up 5, 6, 7, 12 topics, and we'll either breeze through them or spend 12 hours talking about them. I'm not sure.
Okay.
So I feel like we need to at least bring up 3 deaths that happened this past weekend. And I would hope you know who they are. Richard Simmons, Dr. Ruth, and Shannon Doherty.
All like icons in their own way, right? They were all iconic at a certain point in people's lives. I think Dr. Ruth is a little bit before my time. She's somebody that like, oh, I knew who that person was. Richard Simmons was somebody that, I mean, like that was just a dude like enjoying his life. I don't know what happened towards the end of it. Like something went on. Or there was all kinds of confusion. And then Shannon Doherty was what she was. They were all iconic in their own way.
Well, Shannon Doherty, I think, got her break or became famous on Beverly Hills 90210, and then she was in Charmed. Yeah, I was trying to figure out what happened to Richard Simmons. Like, he kind of went into a state of depression and just never surfaced.
There was something with his family. I don't know. It was all a confusing situation that like what exactly was going on. People didn't know where he was. I don't know. And I could look it up, but I'm not gonna.
Yeah, it's probably best that you don't.
I wouldn't say they were. Well, he was probably Richard Simmons. Who was the other ones? Who were the others two who died?
Dr. Ruth and Shannon Doherty.
Richard Simmons, the most famous of those. Then probably Shannon Doherty, then Dr. Ruth. But Dr. Ruth was very influential in terms of, I think that she was kind of like Dr. Spock, like introduced people on how to do things. Like, oh, she was a voice for that cause, so to speak.
Yeah, I think Dr. Ruth is probably the most influential and popular of the 3. Richard Simmons started a whole, like, he made exercising and caring about your diet cool when it like didn't have to be, right? In the 80s.
Yeah.
By dancing and jazzercising.
He did something. I don't know if I would go cool, but he brought it to people's attention. Like, I never looked at Richard Simmons. Other people may. Do what you like. But I never personally looked at Richard Simmons and be like, I want to be like that. But other people were... I mean, he was motivational, man. Doing anything is better than doing nothing.
Hey, the 3 keys to losing weight. Love yourself, portion control, and be active every day. The Richard Simmons playbook right there for you.
Yeah, that's a good advice. I mean, that would work. All
right, let's see here. Soccer for a second, just for a second.
Oh, God.
2 things. So the Euro and Copa America tournaments just wrapped up for all you sports fans out there.
Okay, don't know what either of those are.
Spain has a 16-year-old superstar. And I can't even imagine. I was playing Pokemon at the age of 16. This kid is scoring goals on the biggest stage. It's insane. Apparently, he was recruited when he was 4 years old. That's
a little much.
That's incredible.
Here's my thing about soccer. I don't care about soccer. I don't care about soccer, and I don't think that the rest of the world should really think that they're hot for how they do in soccer. Because if the United States wanted to be the best country in the world at soccer, we would be the best country in the world at soccer. All of our best athletes are doing other things. But if we took our best athletes and had them play soccer, you're not stopping some guy running a 4.2 a 4'2", 220-pound guy. Like, the rest of the world is good at soccer only because we have decided not to be. That's my soccer thing. If we wanted to, we would be the best. We don't want to.
I disagree. But anyways,
you can't disagree. We have the best athletes in the world. The United States has the best athletes in the world. There's other countries that I think can have just as good as athletes, but I would say that on average, the U.S. has the best athletes in the world, whether that's for whatever reason or training. I don't think other countries are touching us. We're bigger. I mean, like, we got 350 million people. It's a size thing.
I think it's hard to argue, though, because, take away American football, basketball is pretty competitive, especially with some European nations. Australia. Yeah. If you want to do rugby, like, we get our ass beat in rugby, which is kind of football without pads.
But we wouldn't be if we took our football players and had them play rugby. Yeah, that's where you kind of lose that.
But you don't know that.
Yeah, but okay, I think that being big and strong and fast works out in just about every sport.
Except for soccer. I mean, where you have to be finesse, sometimes tall and skinny and quick.
What are you going to do when 6'8" LeBron James comes down and they're just like, just kick it up in the air and I'll get it? Like, what are you going to do to that?
But then he has to have... Listen, I'm not disagreeing with you. And as an American myself, of course I want to, but to say that we could be the greatest at I don't agree with that.
I'm going to go ahead and say that if we took all of our best athletes and decided, you know what, let's really invest in soccer, we would be the best within 5 years. We would be the best. It's like we're one of the biggest countries. It's just a population thing. We have more people to choose from.
All I'm going to say is India has 1 billion people, and they are not good at soccer at all.
Well, who knows what's going on over there, right? Like, I'm not in depth. They're playing cricket, man. I think they like cricket.
Anyways, they do. The second part of this was Sunday night's final, the Copa America final, had to be delayed 2 hours because Colombia fans and Argentinian fans literally broke down the gates of the Hard Rock Stadium in Miami to get into the stadium. It got so bad, and this is per reports, I didn't fact check this, but per reports, that security was not checking people for weapons. They weren't scanning tickets. They just let everybody in because they couldn't control it. This is an American stadium less than 2 years out from us hosting the World Cup.
Wait, that was here in the United States that happened?
That was in Miami.
Oh, yeah, they should have known better than that. Like, because we're not, that is one thing that I would say is that I don't think that people in the United States understand how much people in other places like soccer and how into it that they are in the other sport. Like, we don't have a level of fandom of any sport that rivals other countries' love of soccer.
Yeah, I mean, I think because once again, if as a nation, if we loved soccer, we could rival it. But I feel like we're so regionalized, right? Like with sports, like if you're a Detroit Lions fan, you're a Detroit Lions fan. You're not a Seattle, Seahawks fan. Like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if the whole country was a Seattle Seahawks fan. Like imagine how crazy it would be if they actually ever won anything.
Yeah, we don't have the same level of passion, and we're not used to it.
Yeah,
like we're not that into it. We don't realize that like how much other countries love soccer. We messed that one up is pretty much what it goes down to.
Let's move on to the dumb criminal of the day.
Oh, I do love a dumb criminal.
Aiden Studer, 18 years old from New Hampshire, arrested and charged with pushing over a porta-john that contained a 4-year-old and her mother. According to the police report, the mom and the 4-year-old obviously were inside when the porta potty was tipped over.
Poor kid.
And when they came out, they were both covered in feces.
That's a bad day.
That's a real bad day.
When you go into a porta potty, do you ever wonder like what would happen if you fell in there?
Yeah, I also always think about, like, first off, it's difficult enough to get your kid to go to the bathroom, and then to get them to use a porta potty, and then some little shit. No offense, Aiden, you might actually be a cool kid. I have no idea, but regardless, then somebody comes along and flips the porta potty. I think I would be irate.
I would. Oh yeah, that's one of those things where like you are if they park a car in front of you, you feel like you're gonna tear through the car. Like just pure unbridled rage. Like
yeah, just
oh, you're going after something. You can't do that. Why did she tip? Did she know that they were inside? Did she do it on purpose?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously she tipped it over on purpose, but did she know who was inside?
Well, it
like
was a he, and yes.
Oh,
Yeah, apparently he didn't know who was inside, but he knew what he was doing, and that there were people
God.
inside.
That's one of those kind of things where, like, look, if he just gets a public beating, nobody's gonna feel bad for that. I would just lay there and like, all right, everybody, come for it. Oh, you feel so terrible.
Yeah, I mean,
Do that to a little kid.
I presume he's a dumb kid, right? He made a mistake, but it's like, man, being a parent, if I was in that situation, man, you just see red. And I feel like every other parent would agree in that situation. Like you were if you're not covered in the blue dye stuff and shit, like it's over. You're going after somebody.
Yeah, that's. Oh yeah, you're moving heaven and earth for that one. Poor kid. Hope somebody does something nice for him.
Let's see. There is a Dutch startup company that apparently is trying to develop a fully electric plane.
I'm not going to be the first one on it, right?
Which,
like, any kind of technology, I'm not going to be the first. Or the 1,000th. Or I'll wait till the 1,000,000th.
Once again, politics aside, as a new owner of an EV myself, it's actually kind of cool. Like, I'm kind of a fan, and I was never against them. I was hesitant, but so far so good. So if I was offered one of the first rides on this EV plane, whenever they come out or whatever, I'd probably do it. Why not? Sure, put me on there. Beat me up, Scotty.
I mean, I agree, right? Like, I'm all about embracing technology. I'm just not going to be the first one to do it. I'm just like, let's make sure we got that down before I'm getting on the plane.
What if 10 years from now, we are sponsored by this Dutch startup company, and they go, Nick and John, you guys can be on the first plane ride ever. Make history. Would you do it?
Yeah, man. Somebody's cutting me a check. That changes a lot. Like, oh yeah, I'll do that. But can I have like a parachute?
Oh my God, man.
Just in case?
Let's see here. I thought this was interesting for all you climate folks out there. Apparently, it's been proven that the melting polar ice caps is changing the way the Earth spins, which is making our days longer. So really, by us not taking care of the Earth is like, F you, I'm going to make your days longer.
I would say, without getting into the left or the right or any kind of politics or any kind of viewpoints in that regard, don't mess with the planet. Like,
right?
We're going to lose that battle. And I think that sometimes people maybe get a little bit, they forget what we're really talking about. We're not worried about the Earth. The Earth is going to be here. We're worried about our ability to live on the Earth. Those are two different things, right? Don't mess with the planet, because nature's going to hand you your ass.
Yeah, right? That's the thing. Nature's always going to find a way to humble us.
I just general against messing with the planet in any way. Whatever that way is, don't mess with it.
Like a week ago, and my power just went out for no reason. Appreciate that.
Just because you live in Detroit, dude. And I don't know, is it even considered to be is it a third world country?
One last thing here, and this one just caught my eye because of the headline. But apparently, along the Atlantic coast here in the United States, they are using drones to search for sharks because they've had some shark attacks recently. Well, apparently, it's not about what you see on the ground, but what's coming through the air and hitting these drones, which are birds. Seagulls are attacking these drones, sometimes breaking them and ruining them. Thousands of dollars just destroyed by a friggin' seagull, which may be the most annoying bird on the face of the planet.
I live in Seattle. I live fairly close enough to the water where seagulls will kind of make themselves ways in. They're huge. They're big birds. I mean, I don't know how much a bird weighs comparatively, but you look at it and you're like, I bet that thing weighs like 30 pounds. Again, man, don't mess with nature. Like, don't mess with it. Right? Birds can bring down a plane. What are they gonna do to a drone?
Well, next week we're going to talk about something that I didn't get to look up, but seemed cool. Hippos apparently can jump pretty high, and I didn't realize that.
Yeah, dude, it's a powerful animal, man. They look like they're big and fat, but they're not. They're a lot of muscle. If you ever get a chance, look up a picture of a hippo, like what it would look like if its skin didn't look like that, if it wasn't so thick, and it's basically a beast. Like, it's an animal, man. Those things
you
are.
Say that about anything. Take away my fat, and I look like a muscle guy.
No, but like you. Yeah, well. No, but I'll give you that. But like, don't mess with a wild animal, man. You're going to lose. Right. I would lose a fight for my life with any animal over 45 pounds.
Yeah, you said 40. You say 4,500 or 45?
45.
Oh, I don't know about 45. I mean,
I think a wild animal. I'm not talking about a dog. Like a wild animal. You think you're going to beat a 45-pound fox? Think it's going to kill you if it wants to.
They just have unfair advantages, four-legged animals. Like, how are we supposed to defend against four-legged animals? You can't do it.
Well, not without technology, no. Like, we're losing that fight. Okay, are you ready? Are you done?
Let's...
This one
hopefully you all enjoyed it, and it should be an interesting top 5, for sure.
So our top 5 is top 5 movie montages. Only talking about evaluating a movie based on the montage itself. Not the quality of the entire movie, but how good is the montage itself. What's your number 5?
It pains me to put this on the list, but I feel like when you're talking about movie montages and memorable scenes, this one has to be on there. So my number 5 is the volleyball scene from Top Gun.
Oh. Yeah. Okay. I think 5 is the right place for that. I think if you're going to put it on the list, 5 is the right place for it. It's not on mine, but it is probably the most memorable part of a very memorable movie.
Yeah. I mean, it obviously gets a lot of criticism for a lot of things, but it's just memorable. I mean, it's just a memorable montage and a great movie too, by the way.
I would agree with that. My number 5 is Scarface, the push it to the limit scene.
Okay.
Where he's building the business, he's getting the money. Ooh, that makes you want to engage in that lifestyle.
You know, it's funny you bring up Al Pacino, because I feel like him and Robert De Niro, when they do end up, passing away, we're going to look back on their career and their lives and be like, man, they really did some great work. Like, they've contributed a lot to like cinema and theater and things.
They have, interestingly enough, I would say, like, throughout their careers, really had great movies, where somebody else that you would have said a couple of years ago that really had great movies would have been like Brad Pitt, but he's really fallen off. He hasn't had a lot of like really great movies, and up until Oppenheimer, I would make an argument that you could say that about Matt Damon. George Clooney, you could say that about too. Like, their careers haven't been as good for as long as those two guys.
Well, and yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, De Niro and Pacino, they were successful in any kind of role. Like, and I know the other actors kind of too, but like, all encompassing is like Tom Hanks. Like, you might as well, for me, put De Niro and Pacino just up there with Tom Hanks, because they're great in almost any role they're in. They've done some shitty movies, but almost every other movie is good.
Yeah. They've done some. They had some, like, a phase that they went through, but overall, the length of their career is pretty good. Like, they've done pretty well throughout the length of their career. What's your number 4?
So I was looking at some other lists, and I wasn't going to put this on my top 5 list, but then I decided, you know what? It is catchy. I still find myself singing the jingle to this day, and that's Team America America, fuck yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one because it was a parody of a montage and it was a montage at the same time.
Yeah, and it's once again, if you've seen the movie, you know the jingle and you know the song, and it's just lives rent free in my head for the most part.
Okay. My number 4, I'm going to go a little bit out of left field here. I'm going to go Devil Wears Prada. Devil Wears Prada, where she's like classing it up and she's learning how to dress. I don't care at all about
Like,
clothing or fashion, but I was like, oh, that's interesting. Devil Wears Prada. I'm going to throw it out there.
is that in the beginning of the movie where like she's just coming into the city and just dealing with?
No, I think it's
Glenn?
like if it's an hour and a half, it's maybe like 30 minutes in. That's my guess.
So
Maybe
kind of in
45.
the beginning.
It's not. That's like a little bit closer to the. It's in the middle. It's in the middle between the beginning and the middle.
Okay, all right, fine. My number 3, and man, this was the toughest number to do because my 1 and 2 are pretty much. I feel like they're interchangeable.
Okay.
But my number 3, I put Ghostbusters.
I don't remember the thing in Ghostbusters at all.
Oh yeah, it's the scene where where Ray Park, where that song is first introduced, and they're driving through the streets and the the Ghostbuster mobile, and it's awesome.
Yeah, I don't remember it. I don't remember it at all. That's why I don't. It doesn't. It speaks to me the quality of the montage that I do not remember a montage scene in there at all. My number 3 is Requiem for a Dream.
Okay.
That montage basically ensured that while I would finish that movie, I would never watch that movie again.
Okay. I mean, that is up there with, like, for me, if I had to compare it, like the Kill Bill montages, like where they're just so violent and just so crazy,
Yeah.
and just different that you look back, you're like, okay, I saw it once, but I don't think I have to watch it again.
What movies have you watched and enjoyed but said I could never watch that again? If you need a moment, I can think of a couple that I've seen. Requiem for a Dream, Black Swan, Girl with the something something, whatever the ending of that was. I was like, Prisoners. I think it was like a Hugh Jackman movie that I was like, oh, that was good. I will never ever watch that again.
I mean, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say pretty much any DC or Marvel movie. Like, once I've seen them once, I don't need to see them again.
I would agree with that. I would never watch the whole movie, but I'll watch YouTube clips of it.
Yeah, I mean, maybe Guardians of the Galaxy I'll rewatch, but like Avatar, like those movies, I don't need to rewatch them. Like, I've seen them once, I don't need to see them again.
What movie have you seen the most amount of times?
That's not a child's movie?
Not a kid's movie, right? Like a movie that you've watched the highest number of times.
It's going to be a tie, and it's going to be either Titanic or Jurassic Park.
I've never seen Titanic. That's why I refuse to watch it, is because people talk about Titanic. Mine's a different one. Mine's The Gentleman. Just an easy movie to watch, right? Well, if you're going through Netflix, I'm like, okay, I can watch that. It's pretty easy. It's easy. You don't have to think. It's entertaining enough, but smart enough that you don't feel like an idiot.
I don't think I've ever seen that, to be honest with you.
Oh, it's a good movie, man. You should see that.
All right, my number 2 for all-time movie montages. I put the Rocky series, but if I have to get specific, I'll say Rocky 4.
I don't understand how that's your number 2.
My number one's a dark horse, but it's my number 1, and it's actually, I think it's a good number 1 when I talk about it.
Okay, I'll do my 2 and 1 because you kind of already brought it. My number 2 is The Godfather, the baptism scene when he kills all of his enemies. That's a great movie montage. Like, oh, that's really good. And I would almost say it's so good that you can't count it as a montage, even though it is kind of a montage. But my number 1 is, I don't understand how you ever even hold any kind of candle to Rocky 4. If that movie was just that montage, it'd still be a great movie.
All right, well, and all of that, my number 1 is the movie Up.
Oh, it's sad though.
It is sad, but it kind of lays out the entire movie in 3 minutes. It's well done. It gives you the feels. And anyone who struggled with infertility or anything like that, like it just hits home. And like it's a montage out of everything. I could watch my top 5 over and over, but I could probably have that on repeat, and I don't think I would ever get tired of watching it.
Oh, it's too sad for me, man. I don't know how you go that sad. I don't know but to me, like Rocky 4. Rocky 4 is like if you were going to put montage in the dictionary, like you would have the Rocky 4 montage there.
Like don't get me wrong. I mean, I also put up the montage in the beginning of the movie as my number one because it's the only montage that I remember watching that kind of caught me off guard, where I was like, "Oh, I didn't expect this," and it just stayed. You know, Rocky, you know you're getting something right. Ghostbusters, you know you're gonna get something throughout the movie. Like with Up, it was like, "Oh, damn!" Like,
yeah,
I didn't expect them just to hit me like this.
Yeah, that's too tough, man. What's in your honorable mention?
I limited it. I mean, I could have gone for 50 movies, but I put Deadpool.
Ones, yeah. Oh, yeah, Deadpool. That's a good one.
Yeah, actually, that could be top 5 material. Like, that's really well done. Dirty Dancing, Footloose, both dancing scenes, and then Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Yeah,
that one's fun too. Yeah, I kind of capped it there, though I could have put a ton more on there.
The only other one that I would add in there that you didn't mention, because this actually has 2 montages, is Predator. Because they've got the montage where they're like getting ready for the group to fight the Predator. Then they've got the montage where Arnold is getting ready to fight the Predator. Predator's probably the best movie we've ever made. I don't want to see any top 5 movie list without Predator. It's
spoiler alert.
What's wrong with Predator? Tell me where Predator goes wrong. Tell me in your mind where Predator fails to be one of the best movies of all time.
Well, I mean, it could start with the fact that it's about an alien that lands in the jungle.
It's discrimination. That's discrimination talking right there, right?
Oh, alien discrimination.
I don't want my movies to be unrealistic.
No, I love Predator. I mean, I can't say anything negative about Predator. It's
exactly.
Just,
any other movie you can kind of say something negative about. You can't say that about Predator.
Oh boy, maybe that should be next week's top 5 is movies that are near perfect to us.
Top 5 reasons why Predator is the best movie of all time.